Howdy, this is Chris Decato here with part 2 of my Bassman video. Part 1 was started last summer, kind of during COVID lockdown, whatever. Everybody was making videos and it was kind of fun. I made one of my, kind of focusing on my Univox guitar amp that I use for recording. And that kind of inspired me to maybe do one on this Bassman kind of thing that it is. Which it's kind of like a hand-wired 1960s, you know, like a 6061, I think, is the schematics that Mark used when he was putting the thing together. And it's a killer sounding amp, man. It works great as a guitar amp, loud, right? And which isn't really necessarily my thing these days. I don't do a lot of loud guitar gigs and or playing when I'm recording. It's usually really quiet. But that wasn't really the purpose of the amp anyways. It was really made to power this Leslie cab that it's sitting on and play the Rhodes through it. And that was really the whole point of it. And it was all around the band color, you know, because we were doing gigs and they were pretty loud sometimes. We've been known to clear a room or two, but not so much for volume, I don't think. Anyways, but there's some cool history in how that all happened. And what's funny is that, you know, most of that stuff happened before this thing was a Bassman. Before, when it was a Univox, it was a Univox 2, a Univox Solid State guitar head that I bought from Chris Pern, probably 50, 75 bucks. I can't even remember. But it was in the store. He was selling it, and it was in the store the same week that this Leslie showed up. And when it showed up, it was like, ta-da, gotta have it. You know, just had to. And I think I probably bought that head the same week, maybe the same day. I can't remember. And it worked perfectly it served the purpose of powering that cabinet for while I was in the band. At the time I had a PV Classic 50 I was playing guitar through, and a really slick AB box that I think was Jerry Tillett is where that came from. Anyways, and his box of tricks in the white suitcase. Remember, Jerry, the white suitcase? That was the Tongue and Groove thing. Tongue and Groove was it was Jerry Tillett, myself, Jamie, my brother, Peter Black, Chris Elliott, and Matt Langley, and towering musicians from the Seacoast area. Had a lot of fun doing, it was a dance band, really, is what it was. We were having a ball doing gigs, and ended up doing a fair amount of weddings when we decided we wanted to, you know, sell out and make a little bit of money, and which was fine, and a good time, and ended up being asked to do a dinner set. And so to do that, we weren't really going to do the jazz thing, and for whatever reason, and I had my kind of secret life as a you know, kind of film music composer fella, and game music, did a lot of gaming stuff over the years, and commercial, like radio stuff, whatever. And so it was a place for that stuff to get played, and which was super awesome. And actually that's kind of why I'm wearing my Astronautico t-shirt, kind of doing a represent. Those guys just actually put out my 4-track stuff that I recorded when I was 17, and which is super fun and cool and different and kind of embarrassing and all in one thing. And so basically that was the birth of this trio between my brother and I and Matt Langley. And to do that dinner set, we would just kind of, tinkle on some pretty sounding instrumental music. And a lot of those ideas were things that I had that I was cooking at home, or stuff that Matt kind of knew that were kind of jazz standardy type of things, whatever. We would, we would play around with the bossa nova, something, whatever. And that kind of grew this whole band. Ended up, because it was fun. We were actually having a good time. We ended up recording some stuff, just improvising, come up with an idea, and on the spot, and then just roll tape and see what happens, and we had a lot of fun. And there's some cool recordings of that probably happened in 93. I think that first color recording, we called it the trio because there wasn't really a name for it, but it became like, it was enough of a thing that we called it something. And that was like at Green Street in Portsmouth. We were rehearsing there. It was Mike Hart's kind of rehearsal space. There was a bunch of bands rehearsing there, the Bruisers, and God, who knows? There's some crazy stuff happening in that place. Anyways, so yeah, that was a good time, and we ended up. There's some great recordings of that from that first initial, I cut some of those down actually and put them on the record that came out in 2000. Where I took like a 10-minute thing and cut it down to 2 minutes, and I made it into a little tune. Those were really fun from that initial thing, and that was before I even had a Rhodes. I mean, this was the whole purpose of the Leslie, was to try to kind of legitimize the sounds that were coming out of my synthesizer, which was a Roland D70. That's like 1998, 1989 maybe. Yeah, 89, 90 maybe, something like that. It was multi-timbral. It was a pretty happening little Rompler keyboard. I still have that thing actually, and it's got some cool sounds, whatever, If you're a guy with a home studio, that was in 1990, that would have been a rocking keyboard to have. And it was, and it worked fine for live, but plugging directly into the board and, just hearing the sounds like that. I mean, playing through this was a huge step forward. And then obviously getting a real Rhodes was that next step that made it possible really for color to happen. That was what was necessary. And the name Color, I think, was Alexander, my brother Jamie's boy, came up with that. Somehow, must have been before 95, because I think that's when the first actual color record happened. When I was working at Fish Tracks, we recorded a bunch of stuff in there, and at one point made a record out of some of it. That was called The Voicemail. It was kind of Matt's record, really. A lot of his tunes. It was all of our thing, but they were definitely his songs, and he kind of really guided the direction of the band in the very beginning, writing tunes and kind of telling me what to play, which was perfect and a lot of fun. And then so to talk about, I guess, to shift gears a little bit, talk about what the Rhodes really was, where that came from. That was Chuck Chaplin's Rhodes, before which I don't know how many people will remember Chuck, but he was an amazing pianist that was kind of a man about town and used to do a lot of gigs just, around. I'm not really sure what bands he played in. I couldn't come up with lists like that. I know that he was friends with Ray Burnell and some other folks too. I think he was moving to Austin or something, and I think that was where he was going, and he just wasn't going to bring it with him. It was, cheap money, a few $100, something. And what's killer about it is it's got the preamp built in. I think that's maybe de-armand. I don't really know. Maybe I'll get a picture of it. But it's makes it so it's really simple to plug in, and it gives you a boost and a cut of treble or bass. And so you can really dial in the sound of the thing, especially coming out of Leslie, because it's one of the things coming out of a Leslie, it's really a different sound that you get, because the horn, man, is really pretty bright, and you can get super, pingy up in the top. It's very present, right? So anyways, but it's a beautiful sound, and it's a lot of fun to play around with. And but that whole time that we were doing, recording stuff at Fish Tracks, I was like finding amps to power the Leslie with, because the Univox, which was fine to do gigs with, but to record, or even in that situation, was just still kind of gritty, and it was a solid state guitar amp, is really what it was. And it broke up and it sounded okay, but it wasn't like super cool by any means. And most of the time that we were doing gigs, like Monday night, the Jazz Grill, Monday night at the Press Room, I would bring my PV Classic Pit 50 to plug the Rhodes into. And that was the rig. Like, that was kind of what I did for the longest time, kind of dreaming about having a Bassman to plug in instead, so I wouldn't have to carry around an extra 212s, right? It was kind of silly. I've got this tower of the Leslie cab with a PV Classic 50 on it that I'm not even using speakers out of. Anyways, but so that was kind of the point of it, and I guess it was 2005 maybe. I finally, I don't know, I'm sure I asked Mark Steves before then about getting something like that, or building one, taking that Univox and just gutting it, but he finally was like, yeah, that'd be easy, whatever. And I was like, great, let's do it. And I don't remember how long it took, if it was a year or took him a couple of months, I don't remember, but it was totally doable, and he did an amazing job, and here it is. I mean, it still sounds amazing. I guess it's funny and interesting, actually, just the fact that it was it got used less as a Bassman than it was used as a Univox before, because after he built it, we did a few gigs. We did a record in 2008. There was a few gigs here and there after that, but not many, not like before, And I ended up moving to Lebanon, which really slowed the whole thing down. And besides, we just kind of got old. I mean, the last 3 times maybe that, we would have a gig somewhere, and I would throw that stuff like in my car in a weird way to like get it. Like, I actually figured out a way, my green Volvo, I had this giant trunk, and the Leslie cabinet would kind of like sit like a sail hanging out of the back, literally hanging out of my trunk, but it was locked in, and it worked. But I threw my back out every time we played. So it's, at this point, this stuff kind of needs to live somewhere, where it's kind of set up and ready, and like a Monday night at the Press Room, where just kind of roll it out of the corner and set it and plug it in and go. That's what it needs to be done right now. Like, I'm ready for that. Anyways, I think it's probably time to take a listen to the thing. I did play some stuff and already, and tried to remember a couple of those. Tried to remember a couple of those color songs from way back, and I think I got a couple of them. But yeah, so check it out. It sounds really great. Right, so so here's the Rhodes. So now I've got the Rhodes plugged into the Bassman head, into the Leslie cab, and this is kind of what it sounds like. You end up with this. With the Leslie on stop, that's what it is. I've been doing this, the Captain Fantastic band, right? So I've been playing this kind of stuff, right? let's spin that Leslie. That's slow. What is it? Right, that kind of thing, right? It's kind of cool sounding, anyways. So yeah, this Rhodes, it's got there's a few quirky things about it. I haven't tuned it for a long time. No idea if it's still in tune at all. It's been kind of it's been kind of going back and forth between the closet and coming out here every 6 months or so. It'll kind of go back and forth. Sometimes it sits in there for a year maybe, but and I haven't tuned it in a while. You know, I just kind of pull it out, change the battery, and away I go. I know I do have a couple. It's been years and years. There's been a couple rubber hammers that are missing off the hammer, the rubber ends, right? So I got a couple. I think it's the F and the B, which are I kept it that way because I love it. I think it sounds great. I mean, these are killer, right? Right, but this. Just angry, kind of an angry F once in a while. And a B flat, you gotta have that angry B flat. I got one that's sticking somewhere. Oh, that's a mute that's kind of stuck in the way somewhere. Oh, I gotta fix that. So to fix that, I gotta open the thing up. But right now, how about some Mr. Hagen's? I don't know. I can barely play this thing anymore. Oh my God. It sounds so fun though. It's just such a great. It's such a blast to play. I've never been an amazing, like, great keyboard player, but I love trying, you know? That's me. What else is there? Color stuff. What was that? Mooner was a thing? I gotta do this. Right? That's just so cool sounding. What else? Matt, Deadline, is it? Oh no, well that's... What's it? Stony, oh, the Lonesome, Stony Lonesome. Who is it? Anyways, yeah, something like that. Ooh. Yeah, so one color tune that we used to always love to play was the Little Rascals theme, which was kind of like a... remember all the melody and all that, but there was this cool kind of thing that it would get to where Matt would play, and it was... anyways, yeah, that was a fun one. I always loved playing that tune. It was like Tuna P Wiggle. Or maybe was that a different one? Oh, wait, Wiggle. The Wiggle was... That's an oldie. But that whole last record that had like Series 400, I don't know any of those songs. I'd have to go back and listen to all that stuff. I just wanted to kind of show kind of what this thing sounds like. And, I always have the delay out when I'm running it. We all know what delays do, right? That kind of stuff. So one of did you hear that? Well, that was a good one there. Anyways, I figure this is kind of a good place to wrap up. If anybody's, if you've gotten this far, man, you're doing great. And I'm gonna kind of, here I am, doing the sign off. Yeah, see you later. Thanks for watching. Right. So thanks for watching, and talk to you later.